Hey, Mama. So I am so excited to be recording this episode. So, if you know, a few weeks ago, I launched the Social Media Detox Club, and I wanted to bring you guys behind the scene of this membership launch. The first thing I want to say is that this was truly the most peaceful launch that I've ever done, and it felt so good. And I exceeded my launch goals. Like I'm just so blown away by how this went. And so I wanted to record an episode really taking you guys behind the scenes. Like I am giving you all the numbers, all the data, my launch strategy. Like I'm doing a deep dive into this membership launch. And I wanted to do this as well because the strategies that I use to launch this membership are the exact same strategies that I teach inside of the membership. And it's just like one of those full circle moments. Like literally, I was my own case study type of thing. And so I wanted to share that here on the podcast, especially because I've been getting a lot of questions about, how the launch went and different things like that. And I've been like, after the launch, I was like really quiet, like on socials. Like I haven't really been posting and stuff like that. And that was because I needed to kind of like, I don't know, like after I launch, I just need like a little breather. And so I wanted to, give myself a chance to take that breather and really focus on serving the mamas inside of the membership. But now I'm back to record this launch debrief. And yeah, let's get into it. Hey, mama. Are you tired of feeling stressed and overwhelmed trying to grow your online business with your babies at home? You desire more flexibility in your day, allowing you to pour into your family, yourself, and your business without running yourself into the ground. Mama, you can build your dream business and do it in a way that fits your current season of life. And I'm going to show you exactly how. Welcome to the Mama Turned Mompreneur podcast. I'm your host, Andria Singletary, daughter of the king, wife, mama of two, and life and business coach for mompreneurs. On this podcast, you will learn business strategies made for mamas just like you, who desire to be successful CEOs and fully present mamas without stress or overwhelm. So whether you're an entrepreneur who transitioned to a mompreneur or a mama turned mompreneur, I am here to support you. So grab your coffee, notebook, and pen, put in those earbuds, and let's dig in. All right, so let's go behind the scenes of the launch of the Social Media Detox Club. So let's jump into first the pre-launch strategy. So one of the things that I really needed to be intentional about was getting in front of more of my ideal clients. My goal for this membership launch was to have 10 women join. Now, for some people that may be like, oh, that's on the lower end, but that's what I had in my heart. Like I wanted to be able to have 10 women join, serve them well and deeply, and then reopen the doors in a few months. And so I went into it knowing that I needed to get more visible. I needed to attract more of my ideal clients in order to reach that goal. So my pre-launch strategy consisted of doing lots of speaking engagements. And specifically, I did speaking engagements in which I really touched on how to build a business outside of social media, how to build a business in which you weren't relying on social media. And it tied in perfectly to the purpose of the membership. So I knew I needed to generate more leads. I needed to get visible, all of that. And so that was my focus for April and May. So in April, I spoke at Gabby Cox. She hosted the Grow Your Biz Without Social Summit. And so my topic for that was how to transition your business to marketing without social media. Now, although it wasn't focused solely on how to build a business off of social media, it still spoke to my ideal client. They didn't want to rely on social media. They wanted to step away from social media. And so I walked them through my process for that. And that was honestly one of the best summits I've ever participated in. This is kind of like a side note. From that summit, I generated over 100 leads through my freebie, which was my playlist for getting visible off of social media. So it was perfect, like chef's kiss perfection. Then in May, I spoke at two more summits. So I spoke at the Busy Mamas Breakthrough Summit and I spoke at the Side Hustles for Moms Summit. In both of those, it was basically building business off socials as a mompreneur. Again, really being intentional in how I was getting visible and specifically like what I was positioning myself for. I was really positioning myself as the go-to person for really helping you to build a business off social. That is what I did for April and May. And then to kind of launch the membership, I decided to do a masterclass, and it was on building a visibility strategy that fit your current season of life. Now, I knew going into this that my conversion rate, like when I would host like a live event, a challenge that like led into a launch, my conversion rate has typically been 10%. And so that's what I went with. I knew that if I wanted to, convert 10 women into this membership, I needed at least 100 people to register for this masterclass. To help me hit those numbers, that was like from May all the way to the actual day of the masterclass. That was my main call to action, was driving my email list to register for the masterclass. And then I did post on Instagram about the masterclass. That was my main focus. And so I knew that I needed to do a little bit more, though. I couldn't just rely on me doing this myself. And so I reached out to my network and I said, hey, I'm hosting this masterclass in June. Would you be willing to share about it with your email community? And then if you have anything coming up or a resource that you would like for me to share with my community, we can do that. So we did email swaps. So I reached out to, it was either like 10 or 12 women in my network. And of all of them, 7 were able to do the email swap. So this again was part of my visibility strategy. And I want to point out too that one of the women I did the email swap was Gabby Cox. So her audience was already kind of familiar with me. And so that's something I want to point out too, like with doing email swaps, like if you're going to use that to kind of get more visible, generate more leads, especially if you are hosting a live event or you're launching something, being strategic in that way and getting in front of an audience who may already be familiar with you, like you've done a collaboration with the person before, is a really smart move. And so between my own promotion and doing the email swaps and everything like that, I had a total of 154 women register for the masterclass. So the masterclass happened on June 4th. Not everyone showed up live. I would say anywhere from 40 to 50 people showed up live, which for me, that is huge. That was my first time hosting a live event where I had that many people join live. I did also make the replay available. So I made it available, the video, and then I also put it on a private podcast feed because, hello, we are busy mamas. We don't always have time to sit down and watch a video. And so for my podcasting listening girlies and all of that, I wanted to make it, easy for them to consume because that masterclass was fire. Like literally, I had someone after the masterclass immediately go and implement the strategies I taught inside of the masterclass. And she booked a collaboration that week. Like that's how good the masterclass was. Like you could take the masterclass and you can get all kind of collaborations and be strategic with it. Like it's that good. So at the masterclass, I announced the membership and I did it in a way where I was like, we all know why people host masterclass. Like you're launching something, you're going to sell something. So at the start of the masterclass, I was like, you know what? Let's address the elephant in the room. I'm launching a membership, and this masterclass is giving you a taste of that membership. And so I wanted to do that up front because, like I said, we know as business owners, if somebody's hosting a live masterclass, they are launching something. So, like, let's just put it out there so that way you can focus on, what you actually need to be taking away from this masterclass. But also to kind of view this masterclass through the lens of this is what you're going to get inside of the membership and so much more. And so that's why I did it that way. After I hosted the masterclass, I sent out the replay and the link to the sales page to the people who register for the masterclass. I also set up the masterclass as kind of like a freebie funnel in which like people could basically go sign up. They'll get access to the replay of both the video and the private podcast feed. I was quick. I was on it. So the day that I announced the membership to the masterclass and those who register for the masterclass, I had 3 people join immediately. Yes. So as far as like the actual launch timeline and stuff like that. So the open cart period, I did it for roughly 2 weeks. It was from June 4th to the 16th. Now, June 4th, since that was the day of the masterclass, I don't fully, consider it open cart because I just announced it to the people who register for the masterclass. They were the only ones who knew about it on that day. I announced it to the rest of my community the next day. So getting into like how I actually promoted it, like my launch strategy, so to speak. So leading up to the masterclass, I had every intention of including Instagram as part of my launch strategy. And leading up to it, I just really reflected on things and I was like, the purpose of my membership is to show women, show moms, how they can build a visibility strategy that essentially doesn't rely on social media, that there's other way. You have other options. You don't have to make social media part of your visibility strategy or rely on it or anything like that. And so I used myself as a case study, so to speak. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to include Instagram. I didn't feel like creating graphics and recording stories and stuff like that. And it just didn't feel aligned, especially, part of me launching this membership. At the start of this year, I did market research and I asked, like, one of the questions I asked was like, what is your relationship with social media? How do you feel about using social media in your business? And I kid you not, every response was that they were burnt out from it. They were tired of it. They wanted to step away from it. They dislike it. Like there was not a single response that was positive about social media. And so I was like, if I'm really trying to position myself as the go-to person for helping you build a business off socials, then I gotta, walk it. I have to practice what I preach. And so I scrapped the ideas that I have for Instagram. And for this launch, I only did my podcasts and emails. Those were the only places that I promoted the membership. Now, I did post one time on Instagram stories about the membership. And I only did this because I actually had a couple of the women who joined the membership sharing about it on their Instagram. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do one little story thing or whatever. And I did that and that was it. And I think I did that. It was either the first or second. No, it was like the second day of the launch or the open cart period, I should say. So as far as like how much content I created for the emails and for podcasts. So I did 4 podcast episodes. I had debated going back and forth with like, maybe I should do like a week-long series that kind of tied into the launch. And I decided against that just because with podcasts, like unless it's like a private podcast or something, like doing a podcast every single day, like I didn't think you guys, like as my listeners, that you would actually be able to like keep up with it. Like that would be a lot of content. And I know I've done that for other launches before, and it didn't really like make much of a difference. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna stress myself out trying to, record a bunch of content and all of that. So I did 4 episodes. So basically 2 episodes for each week of the launch. Now for emails, baby, I was writing my emails. I did a total of 28 emails. Now, it didn't start out that way. I had probably maybe 20, 22, 24, and I wrote more emails as I was getting questions throughout the launch. Like, one thing I want to say about this launch was that I had the most organic sales conversations, the most questions I've ever been asked about an offer. Like it just was organically, like people were reaching out to me about it. And so that's why that number went up. Originally, I think I was going to do 2 emails per day. And yeah, so it went up because I was getting some really, really good questions. And I was like, oh, I can do an email on that. Oh, I can do an email on that. And so I know that sounds like a lot, especially for those of you who, you worry about sending too many emails because you don't want people to unsubscribe. But don't worry, we're going to get to the numbers in a bit and I'll break that down. But yeah, I sent 28 emails for the whole launch. And one of the things I want to note about the emails was that I kept them straight to the point and I kept them short. Like I didn't do long emails for this. And so that made it easier with churning out that much email content. And what I did was basically the week before the open cart period, I wrote the first week of emails. And then the second week of the open cart period, I wrote those emails during that first week of the open cart period. And I did it that way because I assumed I was going to be getting questions. And so there were some emails where I could tweak a little bit to better like focus in on like some of the questions that I was getting. So that's why I did it that way. Okay, so let's talk about what actually happened during the open cart period. So, like I said, I had lots of different sales conversations that were organic, meaning people were reaching out to me and everything. And I also did something where I reached out or followed up to certain people. So, certain people I specifically followed up with because I saw them repeatedly clicking the link in more than one email. So basically, if I saw that you clicked the link in like 2+ emails, you got a personal either DM from me or a personal email from me. And so I did that, and that resulted in another sale. That is one of the reasons why I love email marketing. You can see who's clicking your link. And so you can actually follow up and say, hey, I saw you checked out the sales page. Do you have any questions? Is there anything you're uncertain about? Or you can just be bold and be like, what's holding you back? So I did, like I said, I had one converted, and then the other people I talked to, they just didn't have it in their budget right then, but they were planning to join when the doors reopen. And then a couple of other people, they were actually already part of a membership and they weren't quite sure like if this would be a better fit for them, which is fine. I actually did an email on, how my visibility membership was different from other visibility memberships. So like I said, these conversations were so good. Like it gave me more email content ideas, but also I ended up having the amazing Tina Henson, who did my sales page. I had her like making some tweaks and changes as I was having these conversations, and it was like I said, sparking some really great ideas and like giving me more clarity on like where the gaps were and different things like that. So I had her make, some tweaks to the sales page as I was having these conversations and stuff like that. But it was amazing. And this was so good. So a couple of mamas who were inside of the membership who joined, fairly early, they were actually having sales conversations with people about my membership. Like having your own members of your membership sell your offer for you, I was just blown away by that. And someone actually converted from that conversation. And I was just like, what? And that's just, I think it's just so amazing, especially, when we started this year, when we started 2024, so many people were talking about they were leaving social media. They were tired of social media. They were going back to doing long form content and different things like that. And I'm like, yes, let me help you. You have options. Social media isn't the only way. And if you do love social media, that is great for you, but you shouldn't be putting all your eggs in one basket. You need to be getting visible in other ways. Like you can't just be getting visible on social media. Anyway, that was like a whole tangent. So let's get into the numbers. Now, I know like one of the main numbers you guys want to know is like how many unsubscribes I got. And this was a question I got from one of the members. She was like, I just kind of want to know like how many unsubscribes. And so I did calculate that number. So to kind of give you context first, so you can expect like every time you send out an email, at least 1% of your list is going to unsubscribe. Like that's just industry standards. And so at the start of the launch, so the open cart period, I had roughly 1,170 subscribers. So I had a total of 105 people unsubscribe. I also went through the cold subscribers and I deleted them. I scrubbed my list. And the reason why I did that is that when you continue to send emails and that, the cold subscribers number keeps going up and up and up, that impacts your deliverability. That impacts your open rates and your click rates and different things like that. And so I wanted to have a kind of like fresh list, so to speak. And so that's why I did scrub my list. But also, even with having 105 people unsubscribe, it's still less than the 1% per email. So like I said, at the start of the launch, I was at a roughly 1,170. It may have been a little bit more. I can't quite remember. And then I sent a total of 28 emails. And so I should have technically, like if we're going to go with that 1% per email, I should have technically had about 327 people unsubscribe. So I didn't even do half of that. I had 105 people unsubscribe. Now, one thing I want to say, I want to touch on this because this comes up a lot. I've seen it with clients. I've just seen it, people sharing their thoughts about email marketing, where they're hesitant to send emails or hesitant to send too many emails because they don't want people to unsubscribe. Baby, if I'm paying for you to be on my email list, I expect you to open the emails and read them. If you have a problem with me sending more emails, then, unsubscribe, please. I don't want you to be somewhere you don't want to be. But the other thing was at the start of this launch, I did include a disclaimer and I gave people a way to opt out of receiving the launch emails. That's one thing I always do when I'm in launch mode. I let people know, hey, I'm launching a new offer. I'm going to be talking about this offer a lot. If you don't want to hear about it, there's no hard feelings. Click here and you'll be excluded from the launch emails. So I did give that option. So anyways, I had 105 total unsubscribe. And funny thing is that I've already regained just about that much back because during the launch, I participated in 2 bundles. So that's the other thing too, is that this is why you need to be continuously getting visible. continuously generating leads, because you are going to have people who unsubscribe from your email list. Like, there's no way around it. Even if you send an email once a month, people are going to unsubscribe. And they probably will unsubscribe more because they're going to be like, who are you? If they're only hearing from you once a month. But because I had that going, it balanced things out. So I'm already close to being back to that 1170 number already, just because I participated in a couple of bundles during the open cart period. Now, the other thing I want to say is that sending more emails is really, it's the thing to do. And I'm going to tell you why, because I actually received messages from people loving my launch emails. Like, telling me they're enjoying reading my launch emails. So, baby, send more emails. Like, the people who need to read your emails, they're going to eat them up. They're going to love them. And the people who don't, they'll leave, and that's okay. They weren't a good fit. Most likely, the people who unsubscribe, either they were never going to buy from you, or right now it's just not the right time and they will come back when they are ready. But I wanted to share a couple of messages I received about the email. So I actually had a copywriter like tell me how much she loved my emails and that they were really good. And then I had someone email me saying that she was truly inspired by how I showed up and beautifully invited members into my club, and that it's been so amazing for her to watch. Like, that just really touched my heart. And then I had someone else too, who she actually ended up joining the membership. She said that she had been enjoying reading my subsequent emails about what I would be doing inside the club and how different it will be in what I'm doing in providing mom business owners. And she said, I find it quite refreshing to see not only women taking care of women, but moms taking care of moms. And so don't be afraid to send more emails. Like, if you are growing an email list, why are you doing it? It's to send emails. It's to build that email community, but also telling people how you can help them. And so the takeaway from there, send more emails. Okay, so now let's get into link clicks. I wanted to touch on this because like that's another big thing is like, link clicks and all of that. So link clicks for the email sent. So I will say that with every single email I sent, people were clicking the link. There was never an email in which people did not click links. So I had a total of 250 clicks to the sales page. So this is just for email. Then the sales. So the first week of the open cart period, I made sales every single day. It ranged from 1 to maybe 4 sales per day. But I made sales every day. And then the second week, sales did slow down and I made about 2 sales that day. As far as the total number of women that joined, it was 18 people total. So like I said, my goal was 10 and ended up being 18. One of the people, however, she did join after the cart closed. And this was a, special situation. She reached out to me telling me she really wanted to join, but she needed to wait until a specific date. And so I created a special link for her and she joined when she said she was going to join. So I still included her in that total because we had the conversation during the open cart period. So yeah, 18 total joined the membership. And then as far as like where they actually joined from, because like I said, I did the masterclass. I, sent the emails to my list and I, promoted it on the podcast. So I will say there was some overlap with this in that, the people heard it in the masterclass, but then they also on my email list read about it in emails and then also listening to it on the podcast. But one of the things that is part of my onboarding process for the membership is that you get a questionnaire to fill out. And the incentive for filling out this questionnaire is that you get a day on Voxer with me to map out your individualized visibility plan. And so one of the questions I ask on the form is, how did you hear about the membership? So I had 3 people convert from the podcast. I had 4 people convert from the live masterclass. I had 1 person convert from the masterclass replay funnel, so that I set up right after, the masterclass was done. And then I had 4 people convert from email. I had 1 person convert from a referral. I had 2 people convert from, they specifically gave me Gabby Cox's name. They said they heard about me from her summit and from the email swap that we did. And then I had 3 people convert directly from just hearing about the membership from me. So as I was in the pre-launch phase, there were certain people that I shared with about the membership, and pretty much they were just waiting for me to send them the link, essentially. So, I had 3 people who joined just from kind of being able to be behind the scenes of the actual, like, me building out the membership and everything like that. So that is that. And then I wanted to share too, one of the questions I ask on the onboarding questionnaire is why people actually joined. And so I wanted to share a few of those because it just is amazing how this whole thing came together. So one person said she joined because of me. And she said that her experience working with me in one of my other offers has been so life-changing that she couldn't imagine continuing to work with me. Someone else said that she wanted to have a thriving business off social media. She loves that I'm a Christian. And she said, you have what I need. You find your members collaborations that might be a help to them. Monthly trainings, I see you as my guiding light to the end of a very dark tunnel. Then I had someone say, I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I want to become more visible without having to post daily. And someone else said, I'm starting to dislike Instagram and I like how authentic you are. And this response, it makes me giggle. This person said, I'm obsessed with you, but I've participated in a bundle of yours before. I already know you're organized and put in the work on this regularly, so you're an expert. And then someone else said, I want other ways to get visible outside of social media. So it was just nice really seeing why people join the membership. And I highly recommend, if you don't have that as part of your onboarding questionnaire or anything like that, add it. You want to know why people are joining because these are the things that you should be talking about when you're creating content. So to kind of wrap this up, I want to talk about the things that I would do differently. Number 1, I would send even more emails. And I know that seems crazy, right? But the reality is that the people who need this, the people who are supposed to be, served inside of this offer, they're going to love the emails. They're going to eat them up. The other thing was that I would not set such low goals. I think a big part of me was hesitant to strive for more than having 10 women join because I'm going to be real. I've had failed launches in the past. I don't like to call them failed launches, but I had launches where I didn't meet my goals. And so I think I erred on the side of caution and put it more on the lower end when now I'm dang, I should have put it higher. I should have tried for 20 and I was 2 away from 20, but one of the things I really learned about that is I don't want to limit myself like that. I have to, adjust my mindset and thinking around that. And then the last thing was that I think I would try a shorter launch period. Launching takes so much out of you. Even though this was a very peaceful launch, it's still a lot, so to speak, especially as you're onboarding people who are joining your offer and different things like that. And I think I would make it a little bit shorter. So, but for future launches, I'm definitely keeping that in mind. I don't think I would do a full 2 weeks, like maybe more so like just keep it at probably a week, like a full week for open cart instead of 2 weeks. I'm thinking I might try that out for like future offers that I launch and everything like that. But all in all, I am so just blown away by how this launch went. And like I said, I wanted to be transparent with you guys for the numbers and stuff like that. And I know we hear when people brag about having like a, 30K launch and different things like that. And so one of the things I wanted to speak to with that is that the reality is that you get to set your launch goals. Like there's no where you have to like, it has to be, 30K is the indicator of a successful launch or 50K is the indicator of a successful launch. It's really what you decide, right? Like there's no rules when it comes to like, oh, this is the standard for a successful launch. And so that was like a reality that I had, and something I reflected on. And it's like, I did amazing. Like my launch goal was 10 and I had 18 women say yes to this membership. And that's huge. I've never done anything like that. And so I just wanted to share that too, because it can be disheartening when you're seeing what other people are doing and then you're questioning, well, am I doing enough? And it's like, you get to decide. You get to decide what success is for you. You get to set those standards because you're only in competition with yourself. You're not competing with anyone else. And so I'm celebrating that. I had 18 women say yes to my membership and they're already experiencing amazing wins. I had a couple of the ladies shared in the Slack community, like one of them, she applied for 3 collaboration opportunities and got approved for each one. Like, come on now. And another one, she applied to, be a guest speaker for a panel and she got it. And we're actually going to be speaking at the same event, which that's one of the things I'm so excited about, to be able to share, like, look at us, the Social Media Detox Club, speaking at, the same events and stuff like that. Like, I'm so excited. I love it. I love it so much. But with that said, I am going to be reopening the doors in September. Now, if you are like, you know what? I need to be a part of this club. The waitlist is open. You can head on over to mamaturnedmompreneur.com/membership to join the waitlist. I highly recommend you do. Like, the reality is that you should not be relying solely on social media to get visible. And if you're ready to actually start leveraging collaboration, so I'm talking podcast guesting, bundles, speaking engagements, guest blogging, other ways of increasing your visibility and generating leads, and I'm talking about attracting your dream clients, you need to be part of this club. Like, that is what we do inside of the Social Media Detox Club. And you really get the support of so many other people with different areas of expertise. Like, we had our first live call and it literally was mastermind style. It was so beautiful to watch how, we did kind of like round table style where people were just sharing like what their signature topics were and getting feedback from the other women inside of the community. And so to be able to have that, getting so many other eyes on what you're doing and giving you that feedback, that in and of itself is priceless. And it was just so amazing to be able to collaborate in that way, to support each other. So anyways, if you want to be a part of that, the doors are going to reopen in September. Get on the wait list. Like, I'm not even kidding. Click the link below in the episode description or head on over to the show notes and get on the wait list. All right, Mama, I'll catch you in the next episode. Well, Mama, that's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to hang with me. If you enjoyed today's episode, will you do me a favor and follow the podcast and leave a review? Hitting that follow button and sharing your thoughts about the podcast are the best ways to ensure that other mamas like you find this show. Your review also lets me know if you're enjoying this podcast, so make sure to share your thoughts before you go. All right, mama, I'll catch you in the next episode.